First of all, a very good morning to all of you. Students, this is a class of BA third semester, General English. So today we are going to discuss Shakespeare the sonnet number 18. So this sonnet has been prescribed in your textbook. So we are going to read this sonnet today. So, first of all, I'm going to introduce you to William Shakespeare. Who was William Shakespeare? So, William Shakespeare, as you all know, was one of the greatest poets of English literature. Uh, Actually, he is deemed as the greatest poet of world literature, although this claim is contentious. But still he is acknowledged as uh, one of the one of the very good poets of English literature. So the reason behind his greatness is actually that he talks about the general human tendencies. So general human tendencies that are actually common to everyone, that are most of them are all the same in all the cultures around the world. So, uh, for example, in Shakespeare's King Lear, he talks about uh, the theme of filial ingratitude. Then, if you talk about Hamlet, Hamlet is about the indecisiveness. And if you talk about Othello, Othello is basically about how jealousy can harm the human relationships. And when the Macbeth is concerned, it is basically uh, about the ambition, the towering ambition that Macbeth has, is the actual cause behind his downfall. So all of these tendencies can be seen everywhere in almost all the cultures. So that is why the work of Shakespeare appeals to most of the people in uh, in every part of the world. So the sonnet that has been prescribed in your textbook is actually sonnet number 80. So Shakespeare has written 37 play in total, and 154 sonnets. So sonnet number 18 is one of them. Actually, this sonnet has been written in the praise of Shakespeare's friend. So in this sonnet, he praises his friend Earl of Southampton. And how does the sonnet start? It starts, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate." So with these lines, Shakespeare starts this sonnet. Now I'm going to share the screen for your convenience so that you may understand the sonnet, uh, uh, and you may see the lines of the sonnet as well. So I'm going to share the screen with you. Hopefully it would be visible. So actually there is some technical problem. I'm actually going to so this is not working. So I have shared the screen with you students. I hope this is visible on your screen too. So how does the sonnet start? First of all, I'm going to read it. "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade. When in eternal lines to time thou growest, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this and gives life to thee. So this is basically the sonnet. So when we talk about the form of the sonnet, and the form of the sonnet is actually, as I have told you earlier, sonnet is a 14 line poems. In English, we have basically two types of sonnets. One is Petrarchan sonnet, and the other is the Shakespearean sonnet. Because basically, the sonnet was imported from Italy, and English scholars and poets Sir Thomas Watt and Sir Surrey, they were responsible for importing the sonnet in England. So, sonnet basically is 14 line poems. Petrarchan sonnet has a rhyme scheme that is different from Shakespearean sonnet. When we talk about Shakespeare sonnet, it basically consists of three quatrains and a concluding couplet. Quatrain basically means three stanzas of four lines each, and we have a concluding couplet that kind of sums up the central idea of the sonnet. So similar kind of rhyme scheme or pattern of the sonnet we have in sonnet number 18. So then we have to discuss the theme of the sonnet. What is the theme of the sonnet? The theme of the sonnet is actually uh, the permanence of art, the temporary nature of human beauty, or everything that we have in this world, and the permanent nature of the uh, art or poetry. So similar kind of theme we have studied in another poem in Ode on a Grecian, when John Keats says that art is permanent and human beauty is temporary. So similar kind of theme is reflected here in this poem of in this sonnet of William Shakespeare. Uh, so it is about the permanence of the poetic value of the sonnets and the beauty of his friend at the same time. So you can say that Shakespeare pays a tribute to the beauty of his friend. He presents basically two aspects of beauty in this poem. One is physical beauty, which is temporary. The other is the other is the beauty of the art. The physical beauty is short-lived, like like a summer's day, like the flowers that bloom during the month of May, and like each season, we have the changing weather. So the summer season is very beautiful. There are lovely birds in the seasons of May, but soon this beauty will die. So when Shakespeare says that sometimes the rough winds do shake the darling birds of May, uh, that is what he means by it. Sometimes the sun shines too hot, and sometimes it is covered with clouds. Thus, the beauty of this world is only temporary, and it will soon disappear. Things like the summer season, the lovely flowers, and the pleasant seasons all are temporary. They do not remain in the world forever. They disappear with the passage of time. On the other hand, there is the eternal beauty of his friend, like his poetry. His beauty will not undergo any changes. His beauty will never die. His beauty will remain alive in Shakespeare's poetry. So, what Shakespeare is trying to say here is that as long as the world will be there, people would be able to see and listen through their ears, as long would be the poetry of Shakespeare living, And similarly, the friend of Shakespeare, whom he has immortalized in his verses, would also continue to live. So, this is the main idea of the poem. So now we have some questions from this sonnet that can be asked, that can be discussed from the exam's point of view. One of them is that what is sonnet? What do you understand by the sonnet? And describe the different patterns of sonnet. So as I have already told you that you have to describe two types of sonnets. One is Petrarchan sonnet and the other is uh, Shakespearean sonnet. So the rhyme scheme we have already told. I have already told you is uh, uh, A double A double B A, C D C D E F E F and G G. So that means three quatrains and two concluding couplet. Sorry, one concluding couplet. You can say that one of the questions that is usually asked in questions is Shakespeare in this poem compares permanence and transience. How do you see this? You can say that in this poem, the poet has presented the theme of permanence and transience. He says that the earthly things like the summer season and beautiful things are temporary, and with the passage of time, they will disappear from this world. Shakespeare addresses his poem to his friend, the Earl of Southampton, and in this poem, Shakespeare plays a tribute to his friend's beauty. The poet asks whether his friend, the poet asks his friend whether he should compare him with the summer's day, uh, because summer's day lasts only for a short time, but his friend's beauty is more lovelier and more mild than the summer's day. Then he says that his friend is more lovely and more gentle than the summer. Why does he say so? Because in England, summer season is a very pleasant season. It's not that much hot like in India, but it is usually very pleasant. So that is why he compares the beauty of his friend to a summer's day. During the summer season, uh, the rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer is very short-lived. So sometimes too hot, the eye of heaven shines, and often is his golden complexion dimmed. So the eye of heaven is a metaphor for sun, because often during the summer day the sun shines very brightly, and suddenly you would notice that it is you can say overcasted with the clouds, so that it dims the light of the sun. So like the sun, everything that is beautiful that we have in this world is temporary, is short lived, and its beauty is only for a very short period of time. So then he goes on to say that every fair from fair sometimes declines, and it loses its loveliness. Similarly, John Keats has also said in his poem Ode to Melancholy that beauty cannot keep its lustrous high. So it is always ready to bid adieu to us. But the poet says that the beauty of his friend shall not fade. It is not going to diminish in any way, because it is not going to. Uh, why it is not going to lose its importance? Because the poetry in which Shakespeare has written about his friend is going to stay there uh, for a long time, as long as people can see and they can hear, his poetry would be relished by different people. So the result is that he would live forever. He would continue to live forever. So similar kind of thing you have noticed in John Keats' Ode on Gratiana. So at the end, I would like to sum up the theme of this poem, that it is basically about uh, the short time nature of the worldly beauty and the permanent nature or immortal nature of the art. So, thank you very much, students. Uh, I hope that you would have liked this discussion and you would have understood the poem. And if you have any queries, you can ask me anytime. So, you are more than welcome. Thank you, students. Uh, Thank you very much.